Oh, it was working. Hey, the thing works, man.
Well, folks, you can't fix stupid.
Yep.
But ignorance is definitely a lifestyle choice.
And I'm a right to hire guy. I'm a right to hire guy. A right to hire guy because they hired me. Because ignorance is a lifestyle choice, and they got to have 1 out of 3, you know? Preferential.
Trust me, we're running more than 1 out of 3, John.
Speak for yourself.
So, anyway.
Well, you are speaking for yourself. Yeah.
I got a little impersonation. My friend Charlie, he says, you know, I was so surprised that the people, the LGBTQ people, didn't like the straight pride parade. Don't they know that most of them was born from a straight couple?
John has no one to blame for his wardrobe but himself. And he's not even a golfer. He said he didn't like the game because he felt the balls were too big. Okay. All right, Stuart, you had something interesting. You go ahead and start.
I don't know if I can even follow after that, but anyway.
You go ahead and start.
I'll start with this. Everybody's seen it, I'm sure, to just really find this interesting. We're back to good old Florida man who's trying to break the Guinness Book of Records for seeing the Avengers. He wants to see it over 200 times. He's seen it 114 times so far. My only real issue with letting him go and do it, but is he paying for the movie every time, number one? Because that's like $10 a hit. You know, even at a decent theater, even cheap, even if he's going to the senior, which obviously not senior, he's only 30 years old. But
he may be a senile 30 years old.
Yeah, well.
30 years old and he's got that much time to watch that movie?
Thank you. That was the other one I was thinking, you know. I can see it,
Well, think about it. Living in his mother's basement.
There you go.
He has no overhead, so he probably got the money to watch the movie.
Well, he does have an overhead. They got the first floor over the basement. Jeez Louise.
Mom and Dad sleep overhead. Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, he can't figure out normal thinking.
You were really, really close there to something bad, John, that we're going to have to edit.
Now,
yes, some people don't understand normal thinking.
Now, I just left, I came here right from the doctor's. The psychiatrist, I saw him, and he gave me this. He says, you'll need this.
Is that a hood?
He says, you'll need this where you're going, you know? And I thought to himself, how's he know that I'm getting a job at a fast food restaurant with a hairnet? How's he know?
John, I'm looking at you as you unfold them, and all I can think of is, I've talked to many people who have gone through therapy. None of them ever had to put on a hospital gown while they were going through it.
Oh, it's a hospital gown. I thought these little sleeves were so I could reach in and scratch my my head without getting hair on the food. Oh, he told me don't go film down. He told me I was supposed to wear them. I better keep sitting at the table.
I thought that the armholes were to let the steam come out.
He's almost done. Flip him.
Oh.
Flip him one more time.
Oh, yes, I will. Did you ever finish that before he went a little silly?
I finished the movie thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. You know what? It's moving too well. I may just ignore my state-by-state ignorance here and let things flow as they will.
State by state ignorance? Well, you have it alphabetical, or is it by population?
Actually, I have to thank I think it's USA Today. I don't know. I never look at the title, but once a week they have a thing that they talk about things that happen state by state. You know, and some of it it's okay. Some of it is kind of and some of it is.
Why?
Good golly, Martha, that was a stupid thing to do.
There's something you don't see every day, Egbert.
Yeah.
I thought it was a state of mind news, you know?
I'm going to spare the people. We're going to have to go over to a podcast with audio only, the way you come in here looking sometimes. I'm talking about, for example, Boise, Idaho. State Senate will consider legislation to legalize hemp that Governor Brad Little said could get his signature if amendments sought by law enforcement are approved. So what is that? You put on a blinking light when you're high? I mean, what's the amendments? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know, that's like when they passed the last laws in Washington that Trump signed. It was 1,000 pages. I mean, they write this thing up. Nobody reads all 1,000 pages except the lobbyists and the career politicians who are like, yeah, I'll put that in for you. You make sure I get to come up to Florida and visit you.
That's
I'll
right.
come make a speech.
Speaking of that, oddly enough, on the news this morning, on the ticker, it has been found that there were at least 10,000 spies in Washington, D.C. I mean,
They're surprised.
Is this news?
I've heard that. I heard that back in the late 70s there were 10,000 spies.
Wonder if it's the same ones.
Probably not. Probably. They got to retire. We're getting to a retirement. They got to retire.
Probably their children. You know, I think
The
everything.
family tradition.
Yeah, look at the way a lot of people go. Romney's dad was a state of Michigan governor before Romney became good. You know, they all got these names, and they just, you know, and all of us people, most people are like me, and they're too dumb to realize that just because he's got the same last name doesn't mean he's the same person.
I actually had, when I was in high school, I had a teacher who was on a local city council. We won't mention his name because about a year after I graduated from high school, they caught him taking money under the table. However, he taught political science, believe it or not. One of his classes, they were talking about the fact at that time, one of the local cities was running for treasurer. You know, not a big graft position, but they had 3 different people running for it, and I still remember the names: Nowicki, Nowacki, and Nowak. And as much as people pay attention, I mean, come on. Obviously, some of those guys
Tic-tac, ballywhack, give a dog a bone? Yeah.
Yeah, they got votes that they didn't really earn.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I was running for office, I'd get a lot of votes that I didn't really earn.
if you got any, you'd get it. But that kind of leads me into another thing because of something was said for a second. I understand that there have been so many complaints about Alexa listening into conversations that Apple's going to come out with a male version of Alexa that just doesn't bother listening to anybody.
There you go.
Yeah.
That works much better. Huh? What?
Yeah.
You say something?
Oh gosh. You know, I guess if it works right, a guy can get divorced and he'll still think he's married because Alexa, he'll just set it up to talk back to him all the time.
Well, the part I don't understand, you have to put Alexa can't move from room to room. Usually, you know, they go to the farthest point away before they start talking to you.
Well,
you can sit next to your wife for 2 hours watching a movie, won't say a thing. She'll get up, she'll go downstairs to do something. By the way, did you? And start having a conversation.
Yeah.
That sounds like a hearing test I had
Yeah.
once. I'm going for a job years ago, and doctor gets all done. He leaves, he's walking down the hallway, he goes, by the way, how's your hearing?
That's the way it works.
And
though.
he's getting paid all that money.
Yep. Yeah, you're going on or not? You had something else or not?
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Oh.
Like I think we mentioned this one before in Wilmington, Massachusetts. The supermarket chain Market Basket had to tell a statewide newspaper, no, we're sure that there's no ghosts in any of our stores.
Oh yeah, we discussed that. Yeah.
It's like, whoosh. God.
Well, they got to tell them why have to give some excuse why the shelves aren't restocked properly. I got one that's I got a big kick
please.
out. Substitute teacher was fired after a magazine full of bullets fell out of his pocket in a kindergarten class. This is in Massachusetts, which you were talking about earlier. Was covering a pre-kindergarten class when bullets fell out of his pocket onto the floor. Another teacher witnessed it.
Now, there's a perfect example of lack of gun control.
Yes.
Now,
It's pretty much, yeah. Well, I was wearing the same clothes 2 days ago when I went to the gun range. I guess I left a magazine in my pocket. And it wasn't Life magazine or Time or anything, not even Newsweek.
Is that a magazine in your pocket?
Yeah.
Or you just glad to see me?
Yeah, happy to see me.
This is almost thick enough to be a magazine.
Yeah.
How do you fit bullets in it?
Yep.
I haven't a clue where the bullets go. Jeez, I've been buying the wrong magazines all these years.
Anyway, the police, the Millbury police, ended up going to his house, suspending his carry license, and they found 6 handguns, 12 shotguns and rifles, and ammunition. And it's not illegal to bring ammunition to the school grounds, but it's like kind of frowned upon, especially in kindergarten.
And you know what? I'll bet you that's one of those guys who used to win a lot of attendance and achievement awards. Everybody gets the award.
Well, the funny thing is, he had just gotten an award like 30 days later for being such a great substitute teacher.
Oh, now you see, if I was the school board president, I would have teachers who were qualified and trained carry magazines, but they have something else attached to them to protect the kids from any bad guys with guns. You need good guys with guns. And if that's not the truth, then why's Obama and Trump got bodyguards? You need good guys with guns.
As much as I hate to agree with you, John, because you're right. And the worst part about it is, there's nothing in the world more important, more useful than a good teacher. And I've had a couple good ones. And there's nothing in the world worse than a bad teacher. I mean, sorry for that moment of levity or lack of levity.
Yeah, well, yeah. We've all had bad teachers. I think the reason they hire a lot of bad teachers is because if they put in all good teachers, the students would just expect too much out of life.
And heaven forbid, but they might actually demand that the students learn something along the way rather than just passing them from grade to grade.
Regurgitate material?
Yeah.
You're talking about good teachers, bad teachers. We had, I've had teachers that basically, here's the stuff, regurgitate it onto the test and you'll pass.
Yeah.
You're not learning anything. You're not, you keep anything. It's mostly like, okay, memorize this until Thursday, okay, and you forget it. Then you have teachers that actually taught you how to think. And those were the good teachers.
But nobody wants that anymore.
No, they don't.
Nobody
They don't.
in power of any kind of, I'm talking from the local precinct captain or whatever he is, your local preacher or reverend or priest or rabbi. Nobody wants you to think anymore. They want you to think you're thinking without actually thinking.
No, they don't. They don't want people who think.
Yeah, they don't.
If we had people who think, half the people in government wouldn't be there.
They want us to become
Exactly.
subjects.
Yes.
They don't want us to be citizens.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking that now it's got a time delay.
Oh, you're on.
What?
Yeah. Zootopia.
Yeah.
I was just thinking earlier today that the wealth in the world is very quickly becoming controlled by fewer and fewer people. Basically, I think now it's up to almost 99% of the wealth worldwide is controlled by about 1% of the people.
Yeah.
So other than the words you use for the people that have control of things, what's the difference between that and the days of feudalism with lords and ladies and knights, etc.?
Nothing.
Well, after they crashed the dollar and all after they crashed the dollar, what they're then gonna go do is become a feudal society again, where the rich are gonna rule the poor. And if you don't grow food and give them a percentage, they're gonna get you.
Oddly enough, did you know, I've read a few books that were, one of the theories is that they originally invented money so that people could pay taxes instead of giving the people in control food that would rot after a year or two, because the money wouldn't go bad, it would last longer.
Well,
Makes sense, yeah.
If that was the case, everybody could have paid in moonshine, because alcohol doesn't go bad.
It makes people do bad.
Yeah, well,
But no,
it all depends how it's made. It will turn a little.
And it's funny you mention that, because that's exactly one of the reasons why the original whiskey rebellion happened in this country, because the farmers were taking leftover grain because they had no way to keep it, and they were fermenting it because they did have a way to keep alcohol. It's amazing how many how often the same things are discovered over and over again, because most of it is just common sense.
Well, I tell you now, alcohol is good for a person as long as they don't drink it. It's great for skin rashes. You know, you can get athlete's foot, soak your foot in moonshine for a couple minutes. Man, it's great. The only thing, don't let an alcoholic near the glass, because they'll drink it, and
Or
then
your feet.
you'll lose your lunch, and if they lick your toes and all that.
Well, you went on to lick the
Moment,
toes, yeah.
moment of silence.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I erase that mind picture.
Yep, thank you for putting that in my head. Anyway,
You don't want
moving
Wait a minute.
along.
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously they're still working on the medication.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't drink the alcohol anymore. That's all, because you never know where it's been. If you come into a room and there's some alcohol some moonshine on the table, don't drink it. You might be able to soak your fingers in it if you got some cuts or anything, and that stings a lot. Then you really know you got cuts, so you can enjoy that pain.
Well, they're doing all these cruise ships and all these exotic places that people are going and dying, and they're finding out it's basically moonshine, it's illegal alcohol that they're putting. They're making something up in the basement and pouring it in the Jack Daniels bottle and say, "Oh, here, all the Jack Daniels you want."
Yeah,
they're
and
doing
it's
the cheap alcohol. Yeah,
it's because they got wood alcohol mixed
Yep.
in with grain alcohol.
You know what's freaky is the fact that they actually use imbibable, drinkable alcohol to help your body purge the grain alcohol that's bad for you.
The wood alcohol, yeah.
Yeah, well, whichever. I
Yeah.
actually had a friend that OD'd because he was ignorant, and that's what he had to do. He actually had to stay in the hospital for about 3 days drinking regular, good, drinkable alcohol because it helped to flush the bad stuff out of his system.
Oh, they let him drink it? Last I heard, they put in IV bags with 10% in there, and they just have it go right into your veins. You don't even get to drink and enjoy it.
Are those commercially available?
I needed one of those yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. See, now, Art and Stu need that kind of stuff. Not me. I'm all good flying already.
But that's because you were dropped on your head too many times.
Yeah. But then they started dropping me on my arms. Look at that stuff.
By
Look at
the
that.
way, John, you left your foil hat over my house the last time you were there.
Oh, good. Now, did your wife turn it upside down and use it as an ashtray?
Well, no, it
good.
got turned upside down. The dog used it for something, but it'll probably just keep you warm.
That'll wash out.
Yeah.
That'll wash out.
All right.
Let's try something. Moving on.
Okay. The Sidwell, Louisiana police have requested the people in town not to call them 911 when the Taco Bell runs out of shells. The Taco Bell ran out of shells, soft shells and hard shells the other evening, and the police got 4 different calls on the 911 number, and they explained to the people of the town that this just really isn't in our jurisdiction.
Wait a minute. Maybe they should have called that school teacher because he had extra shells in his pocket.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, now you're
nice
talking.
segue. Now that was a good segue. Shells.
Yeah. That now you're talking. Yeah. So
he's learning.
I guess if you're going to go down there to that Taco Bell, you should keep a box of shells in your trunk. But you got to figure out what kind of shells you're going to get and wrap them so they don't get stale.
She shells?
She shells.
Yeah, it's by the ocean, so it's she shells.
Do you have anything mildly intelligent to say today, John?
Well, I don't know.
I'm going to send a copy of this to your therapist, by the way.
Well, you know what? Knowing him, he'll probably give you a referral fee and a portion of his next bill to me.
When you first started saying that, I thought you said you were going to say he was going to grade it, and I'd probably get an F-.
Yeah. Could have done better on this one.
Yeah.
No. Only teachers grade things. Doctors realize that they can get paid more if they don't grade things.
I got to tell you, now I won't mention any names, but back when I was in high school, it just so happened a friend of mine had an older sister who had the exact same class from the exact same teacher 2 years before. And if you ever wondered if there was any favoritism from teachers, when his sister turned this paper in, she got an A+ on it. He took the staple out, typed the cover sheet, stapled it back up again. He got a B- for the exact same paper from the exact same teacher.
But maybe no.
I
Maybe the
guess-
teacher realized. Well, no, they wouldn't give him a B-. They
No,
realized
they
it
would
was
have
same.
given him an F then. Duh.
I guess it's there's sexual preference, or even worse, the teacher was had favoritism to one person instead of treating everybody like the same little box.
Hey, my daughter would
Would
get.
you-
My daughter got upset once because she did not get an A on the paper, and we went to she went off the charts, and we went to parent teachers conferences. The guy said, "Yes, I'm the bad guy," and I said, "Any particular reason you gave her a B?" He says, "I think she could have done better." He said, "That's why I gave her the B." I went like, "Okay," but so the person who is, you got to do better to get an A. They rate them. Well, that could have been a better paper. That person could produce better than that. So they didn't get a
So
good
then,
grade.
wait a minute. So then, in other words, what they're saying is, it doesn't matter how you compare to the other people, which
No.
is what the bell curve is supposed to be about. It's how you compare to how well you do.
Yes, that's what he was saying.
And of course, there's absolutely no leeway in there for a bad day, things on your mind, not feeling good, can't stand the teacher. So, what's
Sinus headache, whatever. You don't
yeah,
know.
what's going on?
Yeah, I know. That doesn't make sense.
I've heard of teachers doing this to other people.
Yep.
Well, you could have done better. Yeah, well, how come so-and-so, they should have done better? Yeah, oh, they're not as smart as you are. Or they're this, or BS. You know what? Life is based on how you compare it to other people, not to your previous thing. You don't get a pay raise at work because, oh, you're better than you were last week. It doesn't work like that.
Well, anyway, Art, as soon as it takes over, I'll
Come
probably
on.
forget what I was going to say by then.
Oh well. we'll just keep talking to each other.
Yeah.
And what the heck? Oh, there we go.
There we are. So the thing about, just imagine you got a plumber coming to your house. He fixes the drain and unplugs the pipe. Now, do you pay him on how well he did or could have did, or do you pay him on whether he just fixed the problem?
Well, I don't see any. Maybe that's not the best example, John.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about like vocational training, teaching. If you're teaching a bunch of kids and they know how to fix the equipment, you got to give them a good grade. You can't, you can't say, oh, well, I'm only going to give you a B because you could have done better. You could have made a nuclear reactor out of that thing, But no, never mind. Never mind.
Once
So,
again, incoherent ramblings from John.
Back to when you're soldering the pipe and it doesn't leak, it's good. It doesn't matter if it's pretty, it's still good. But you could have made it prettier. Yeah.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, when I flush and it disappears, that's all that
Yeah.
matters to me. So,
Got another little saying I heard today that I thought is great, and I think it really is. It's good for this time of year. Men, you have to remember, cargo shorts are just purse pants. Simple as that. I thought it was funny. I thought it was great. Because everybody, you see these guys walking around with the 20, shorts and 22 pockets in them, all full
Yeah.
of phones and God knows what else.
Yeah, well, I was glad that was the road you were going down.
Thought I was going somewhere else, didn't you?
I didn't want to think about these shorts and another aspect of men wearing them. I didn't want to think about that.
Cue art.
yeah, you better believe it, because all I can think of is, okay, how do I segue? That's your word for today. Segue. Can you say segue? Sure you can. Oh, well. How about Des Moines, Iowa?
That's a good
Yeah,
segue.
hey.
Here you go. Cargo shorts, Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, the state Senate has sent a bill legalizing the growing of industrial hemp to the House to grow behind the house.
Great. Yeah,
Hey,
well,
everybody needs a hobby, or what do they call it? They call it a side hustle now. Oh yes, I'm a nuclear physicist by day, but then I rob houses by night. I needed a side hustle.
Oh, well, I thought their side hustle would be to sell nuclear bombs to people.
Haven't you been watching the news? The Iranians got more than they need, so they're selling it to everybody else.
Oh, well, you know what? Back when Bill Clinton was president, the North Koreans started selling it. They sold it to Pakistan, and I thought for sure Pakistan would have sold it to Iran, and India had them. I don't know where India got them from, but they could have sold them to Iran. Iran didn't have to make their own. You know how these people are. Everybody's like, hey, got some money? Walk down the street. You can buy anything.
Can you buy a personality, John?
Well, I'm trying with my psychiatrist to buy a personality.
No, it just makes me think of the fact that when this country was going after Saddam Hussein for possessing all these weapons of mass destruction, somebody says, well, how do they know that he has them? And somebody else said, because he bought them from us.
Yeah. And then the guy was crafty enough to get rid of them, so they never found them on Iraq. But then everybody, everybody's listening to CNN and all them and said, oh, yeah, Bush is great, And now CNN's only working for the Democrats now. Before, CNN used to be an equal opportunity propagandist.
Oh, no, they're all just working for their own money. People don't understand that it is not news anymore. It's infotainment. You watch 3 minutes of somebody screaming at you, and then 4 minutes of commercial, and then 3 minutes of somebody screaming at you.
Well, then,
and all they want to do is bring their ratings up so they can get better. They can make more money and sell more money for their commercials. It's a ratings game. It's been that way for years.
I've got to put in a plug for our show, WRNG TV. It's on Amazon. We've got a few episodes. We've got several in the can. We're waiting to get them all closed captioned. And we don't really have a tagline, but we like to use WRNG TV. Our news is no news.
And he says he's got them in the can. Well, after the show, I'm going in the bathroom and seeing if they're there.
Yeah. How come the guy's closed captioning them in the can? This is the question that I just... Is that like reading a newspaper when you were younger? Anyway.
Yeah,
Did you ever read a newspaper when you were younger?
Yes, I did. There was like 2 days I remember that I read a newspaper.
Because you ran out of the Sears catalog?
Pretty much, yes.
Back in the late...
That was an inference for our country people.
Back in the late 60s and 70s, Time Magazine and Newsweek, they were really prestigious places. Now they're just infotainment.
Infotainment. Well,
okay, John, they say that if you remember the 60s and 70s, you weren't there.
They started finding out that they could make money. The news at one point in time was what they call loss leaders. We have to do it. People got to do it. So that's what they did. Then they started to realize that, we can actually make money doing this. And that's when cable came out, and that's when everything went to, I believe the terminology is hell in a handbasket. The world's going to hell in a handbasket.
Oh, and on that happy note, it's time to go. Believe it or not, we have about 20 seconds.
20
Bye-bye.
seconds.